Hey, beautiful people, how's it going? Welcome back to Doesn't Make the Cut podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Wright. I'm part of the Kitsan What's Out Nation.
Timkyo Hayeks Gaba Hayeks. Nick D'Angeli from the Niskat, Simpshian, Tlingit, Haida, Gitsan, Tsitsauit, and Colville nations. If you're new here, welcome. We're an Indigenous film TV review podcast that you can only watch on YouTube, listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts.
I currently work in the film industry. My profession is assistant directing, aspiring writer, except for camera, because I don't fuck with that shit.
In the film industry, I'm an actor, I'm a model, I'm a film director, and film screenwriter with starting up my own production company, D'Angeli Productions.
If you feel that we are worthy and enjoy what you're listening to and or watching, please give us a like, comment, subscribe, share. You have no idea how much that helps the channel out.
And we'd like to acknowledge we're bringing this podcast to you from the traditional, unceded Coast Salish territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Swillytuth nations in Vancouver, BC. We thank our Coast Salish relatives for allowing us to live, work, and podcast in their traditional territory.
And today's episode is Beans.
Beans came out in 2020 based on true events of Tracey Deer's debut feature, chronicles the 78-day standoff between two Mohawk communities and government forces in 1990 over in Quebec. Known as the Oka Crisis, we follow a young girl, Beans, as she, her family, community, and nation are in the middle of real-life tragedy. Her journey of not only surviving, but also becoming her own person and a coming of age. It's very heartfelt, heartbreaking, very insightful at the time period. What are your thoughts, Mike?
It is. It's 32 years ago. Jesus Christ. 3 decades later, and I think this is like an important movie to watch or even show in public schools, because it kind of shows a harsh reality that corporations will try to bully us out just for profit.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It is, I think it's a very well done film that really educates this real life tragedy that was going on through this nation, and especially through the corporate mindset of what they're trying to do is taking their traditional land and to create a freaking golf course.
A golf course. All this trouble just for a fucking golf course. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, PG. No, I'm joking. So this is interesting hybrid movie. Like it really does play like a actual film, but there's documentary elements in it where they actually weave in actual footage back in 1990.
I really enjoyed that because, like you said, it's like a mixture of things where it takes real life footage, the footage in like the film itself, but then also you're seeing you're along this journey with this young girl through her perspective throughout this whole time period.
And during this whole process, you could tell that she really does feel conflicted and divided on who she is and what she wants to be, because her mother is saying that she should do this, her father is saying you should figure out things on your own. Her friend that she meets on the res is like, no, fuck that shit. You gotta be hard like me. So it really is a coming of age story, and you can't help but sympathize with Beans, the actress herself, who is oh shoot, I'm gonna butcher the fuck out of that name. Kia Wentio. Great. She's a fucking great actress. Like, she really does know how to bring in sympathy on screen.
Yeah, no, really, really well done. Really well done. Like the performances, from her and everyone else were done really well. Especially through the young talent in here. Like it was very superb, and I really enjoyed each and every one. Like their performances were really, really nice, and the dialogue too between everyone, it was very real. It was very natural, and that's what, and especially when you take something that's based on true events. That realism that you felt like you were in that time period. You were there with them. It's a roller coaster of a ride. I really enjoyed this movie, man.
Production value in here really does immerse you into 1990, to the clothes, the hairstyles, to a lot of cars in that time period. So the budget on this movie must have been really impressive.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah, you definitely felt like you were on the reserve over there. Oh yes, so that's cool, man. You saw a couple of familiar faces in there. Yeah, you have Paulina Alexis, who played Willie Jack, and the guy who played Bear. They played brother and sister in here.
Wow.
And so that was pretty cool, and it was really interesting too, because they were funny, but then they were very like, they were pretty mean as well. Definitely interesting seeing them both in this role, and I thought that was pretty cool. Paulina's character's name is April, who befriends Beans, get her to be tough in a way. And so like their scenes were really, I think, really done well. But then also like the two, April and Hank, in the film, they reminded me so much of some kids growing up, where they they come across as like assholes and are pretty mean and trying to be all tough and stuff, but then deep down, like, they're going through their own families, their own family dynamics, and own
hurt people, which in this case, our boy Jay, he's a Vancouverite. I actually did meet Jay. He's a pretty dope dude, and which is funny that I say that, because he plays a right asshole in this movie.
Yeah. Oh man, that was cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, his character was an asshole, but yeah, seeing him in there, that was awesome. I had the awesome opportunity to be able to work with him.
No, he's generally awesome. He's a nice dude. Yeah, I think that was 4 years ago I met him. So I'm always surprised when I see him. And I'm like, hey, it's Jay. So he's on the grind.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it just, everyone in here, man, I feel like they delivered really well performances, and yeah, I mean, geez, what a movie. It went through so many emotions, and I feeling for all the families that were in that community, and like you were able to, like, I think that really worked with just going back real quick on like the real life news footage and the camera work that was caught in there. I remember seeing the documentary on this by Elonisa Bomsawan, and
that was cool, right?
Yeah, and that was like, just hearing about this story and then able to like see that in this film. One of the scenes that really got me is when they're in the car and they're trying to leave the reserve, and you see all these like white people there. They're throwing like rocks and stuff. Like, that was a pretty horrific scene because you're in the car with them.
Yeah, it's a harrowing scene, and it's really scary, and it's kind of sad to see that even though like people would like to think that racism was dying is dying, like it's no longer a thing. Well, this is really recent. We're talking three decades ago, and it's still prevalent now. It's just a little more subtle.
No, exactly. Like, I couldn't imagine like being in a time period like that. Like, but yeah, it certainly encaptures a lot of that sense, and I'd say almost too, it really worked with me with the chemistry of everybody too. Everyone's chemistry with each other, like it was a really cool feeling. Like you were just you were there, even in those heavy and heartbreaking moments. Like you just truly felt there. And that's like huge props to the way it was directed and the way that the writing and the performances of everyone. For me, there was only one thing that kind of felt a little flawed on my part. So just going back to a little bit of the chemistry, the only pieces of chemistry that I didn't feel were there were actually with the parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Like, we didn't see much of the father either. Like, he was just kind of there.
Yeah, and it was like the way the mom and the dad were with the kids individually. I feel like they were there, but it was almost like maybe that's their take on how their relationship is in the film. But the scenes that the whole family was together, it didn't quite necessarily work for me.
Yeah, at the end of the day, nothing is really perfect, and despite how a good movie this is, and yeah, it also plays as a cautionary tale of corporation greed, because unfortunately it's still prevalent today. Like, There's Idle No More 10 years ago, and 6 years ago, which is fairly recent, was Standing Rock. So it's most recently the Pipeline, which no doubt probably ruffled more feathers. And I know Alberta doesn't see kindly to us right now, because I heard a story where someone was moving to Manitoba for work and for more opportunities, so he put in his 2 weeks notice, and the manager said, well, as long as you can tolerate those Indians.
Jeez. What the hell?
So it's really sad to see that no, it's still out there, despite people in denial. You need to get your head out of the sand and wake up and smell the duty, because it's out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I truly feel like more stories like this, when you're talking about these events that happen, and through our amazing land protectors and water protectors, they go out and protect the lands, and seeing these stories from many different aspects, like it's very important. I'm glad that they're being showcased, especially from indigenous talent and indigenous creators, filmmakers, directors, like producers, like that's it's very important, especially through this time of representation, as well as just showing these stories. Yeah, I really hope that we, it's gonna be, we got many documentaries, and I hope to see, more features like this where it showcases into those events that have happened.
It's fairly balanced. Like it doesn't outright demonize non-Indigenous people, because we've seen a couple times in the show where like Beans wanted to steal something in the shop, and the clerk is just like, just go, just take it. So like, it was a funny scene. I'm just like, sweet, that's cool. I mean, I don't condone shoplifting, but still.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like talking about like things that feel real in this, that it would happen. There's good people out there that if shit's hitting the fan, like you help where you can. So that was really nice to see that in this film, and a lot of things were done really well. Like I really enjoyed the cinematography in this, like the camera. They had some really amazing camera shots in there that I enjoyed. Even stronger, showing those real clips throughout the film. Yeah, because sometimes when it shows things that are based on real life, they kind of show them like at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
staggered it out through the timeline of what's going on. Like you really see like the beginning, the middle, and the end of throughout the crisis.
Yeah,
man. Oh geez, overall I think this movie was done really well. I really enjoyed this.
I did too. It's funny because we can't really talk spoilers, because this happened. If you're coming to Canada and want to know some of Quebec's history, then I probably would encourage you to watch Beans, or even I really do think that this film should be shown in public schools, just to show that this really disgusting history, where again, like all this fuss, all this trouble, just for a golf course, and saying that out loud, it's just insane. Like honestly,
and it just goes with this agenda through government officials, and their agenda and what they want to do, and especially like, oh man, and the fact too, like all this stuff, 1990, that was that was recent. I mean, that was like 8 years before I was born, and like we were talking about things that just happened in just the last 10 years. It's insane that stuff like this is still going on, and throughout many communities all across Canada, all across the United States, and even down south. Like it's an unfortunate way, because it comes to corporate greed, and that's why you're absolutely right, Mike. Like this film needs to be showcased in schools, because this is going to be very educational to change the world. Like I truly believe, like you bring out movies, TV like this, that really changes the world, because it just like it puts a perspective, and it puts a magnifying glass on what is there, and what has happened, and what needs to fucking change.
Yeah. Yeah,
And the fact when it's done really well
Yeah.
too. Like this got 91% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You have to be a real asshole with. I mean, really, honestly, like if you think like this is a badly made movie or X Y Z, and you have to be a real dick to not enjoy this movie.
No, it's done really well, man. I think, yeah, overall this movie was done well. It really encapsulates like the tragic and the pain this nation had to go through, and seeing the support. You're able to see some the support throughout the world. Like even though in like the environment itself, like you know around Quebec, but you could see you saw the support from around the world. That was cool seeing. It did the emotional, intense moments like really there, and they're really heavy hitting, but yet it was able to create that fun in the moments with the kids, especially with the sister, Beans and her sister. Very sweet, and
Yeah.
those family moments, those human moments, were just like when things were going down. Like you had those soft moments that really like eased a lot of stuff, and I really enjoyed. And I feel like I highly recommend this, and I feel like this definitely makes the cut.
No, absolutely. I agree with that rating. It does make the cut, and a very rare rating I give, but I happen to enjoy this movie a lot. Before we do wrap things up, there is one scene that I do want to talk about that really does show like Bean's vulnerability and like her reaching her limits, and kind of showing that obviously violence is never the answer. Is when Beans was at that motel and she started. I don't remember. Was she beating this girl near an
Yeah,
arcade?
yeah, it was after before she was like drinking with her little friend group she was trying to get involved with. And
Yeah.
then she it was a mixture of, because it was that night throughout the day, that's when she saw the white people like throwing rocks at their car.
Right.
It was out of like seeing someone that take out aggression, that anger out. And it was this poor
Yeah.
white girl who was just standing there.
Yeah, she was staring,
Mhm.
which like no one likes to be stared at the end of the
Mhm.
day. But even still, like I understand where Beans is coming from, because like it really is a vicious cycle. Like you mean we're just talking about this before we were recording. Like it really is poison holding in all that anger and resentment inside you, and there does need to be healthy ways to let out that anger and aggression out. And unfortunately, in that situation, it probably wasn't helping anyone's public view.
No, absolutely, and that that's it's a real instinct, in a real situation and process. And yeah, it's absolutely right. Like you have to going through all those emotions and figuring out like how to cope with those. And in that moment, that's what she felt was the way to do it, and then she realized after that wasn't the way to do it. Yeah, you're able to follow that journey and follow that her progression. Taking it into her perspective was damn. It was some real shit there.
It was.
But yeah, I mean, if you really want to check this movie out, I mean, you can get it's on Crave TV. You can buy and rent it on iTunes, Amazon, YouTube. So I definitely recommend checking Beans out.
Yeah, support the cause.
Exactly.
Isn't Amazon doing like a promotion, like 100% of the proceeds is going to something? I remember reading that. I remember seeing that.
Oh wow, well, that'd be good.
Yeah, so all the more reason. I think that wraps things up, eh?
Wraps things up. I mean, yeah, it makes the cut. Eight stars.
All right, you heard it here. So, as per usual, if you enjoyed this, please give a like, comment, subscribe, share. You have no idea how much this helps the channel. XYZ. And I'll catch you in the next one.